Welcome, everyone, to the Holstein House Broadcast. I'm the West Virginia woman, Robin, of RobinHolstein.com and Holstein House, where my guests get a great night's sleep at a fair rate plus breakfast. This is a podcast that looks at society and culture issues affecting families in West Virginia and the United States, from food preparation and storage, gardening, home repairs, current events, and more. We'll go around the table and back in 60 minutes or less. So let's hang out and talk a while. Good morning, all y'all. It's Friday, December the 1st. 2023. And this is episode 120 of the Holstein House Broadcast, answering your questions on hosting a B&B from your home, your food pantry, your food preparation and storage questions, and more. And today, we're going to talk a little bit about, melatonin. Melatonin. We talked about that the other day. A little bit of current events and stuff today, and just a general conversation. So hop over. Obviously, you're seeing me somewhere, and make sure you say hello in the comments so I can say hello back. And if you're on YouTube, same thing. YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook today. So I'll be uploading the audio to fountain.fm out of Podbean, which is what I use to upload my podcast version of the show to a bunch of different podcast applications, Fountain and iHeart and TuneIn, and it's supposed to be connecting to Apple to go out to several of the Apple podcast connections, but I figured out the other day that there's a kink in there somewhere, and Apple it hasn't been turned down because I have the email from Apple from a long time ago when I started that they accepted it, but it's not streaming, and so I had to go into Podbean and do some, I'll call it voodoo. It's not really voodoo, but some tweaking around with it. I tried to get it fixed. I don't know if it's fixed or not. It said it could take 3 or 4 days, so that's frustrating. But I want to give a shout out to Noster Gang. It's a screen name. Noster Gang said hello from Pennsylvania over on the Fountain application, fountain.fm. And I'm glad to meet you, Noster Gang. Glad to have you aboard. So be sure and say hello anytime even if you're watching a replay. Put in the comment that you watched the replay and you liked it or you didn't. Or, whatever you come up with is fine as long as it's not foul. I'm not a fan of 4-letter words. It's a conversation we can have, but doesn't matter. I'm not a fan of them. But I've been on broadcasts and had people on that use the occasional 4-letter word, and I'm not going to throw you off unless you look at me and say, like Elon Musk did yesterday. Well, it was reported yesterday on the news that I watched. He gave the big F-bomb to Disney. Elon's a character. I like him, and I messaged him on X and asked him to help my church. He never replied back. So if you're a friend of Elon, or if you're a friend of a friend of a friend of Elon, tell him my church needs a new roof, and we've got a Give Send Go account for that. I'll talk about that here in a little bit, maybe. But yeah, be sure and say hello. I'm over here. I'm trying to watch the different ones that are live streaming, and there's a different application, or I don't know if you call it an application. It's an alternative to StreamYard, which is what I primarily use, and I've paid for. And of course, I found out this other programs out there after I renewed my StreamYard. But I'm going to try it. So, and I keep saying that, and I haven't done it, but I'm going to. I really am. I eventually do whatever it is that I say I'm going to do. I am. You may notice. You may not notice. I'm really tired this morning, and I blame that on the only thing different is I took some melatonin. We talked a couple days ago about melatonin being one of the things that you can take to help you sleep, and um, I forget what all we were talking about. But anyway, melatonin came up, and I thought, have had trouble staying asleep. So, um, of course, the dogs are part of that. They move, they kick, and do things. But I would wake up and stay awake for a couple hours, and then try to get back to sleep. And then once I did get back to sleep, I couldn't hardly get up on time. So, we have melatonin here at the house. I thought I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take some melatonin, and yeah, I had a very difficult night last night. I'm gonna blame the melatonin because that's the only thing different. Um, what are we doing here? Sorry, I'm looking at something over here that just kind of went weird. Uh, okay. I sorry. I I took the melatonin. I had a really rough night, but also on Wednesday after, I don't know if it was, yeah, it was afternoon because it was about 2:30. I took a tumble on off my stairs from the bedroom down to the first floor. I missed the see. I come down. I missed two steps, two and a half, I guess, and come down pretty hard. At the foot of our stairs, here's an outside wall with a window, and then the an outside wall to the front porch or to the front of the house, and then so probably a 3 foot section, and then the front door of the house. So I come down and I overshot the steps, so I come down into it to the floor and rolled my ankle up under me, and it didn't break. It isn't. I guess it could be lightly sprained, maybe more like a strain, because it's not really swollen. It's tender. Certain ways I move it, it's a little tender, but it didn't break. I thought for sure I had broken something. When I after I stopped moving, and I was like against the wall, and I thought, and I did holler. I hollered, "Ow, gosh!" I didn't swear, which I'm proud of myself, but I did. I said, "Ow!" And one dog went up the stairs. One dog went to the living room. It was terrible, and I was embarrassed, and there was nobody here. And but I was moving real slow, and I thought, oh, I'm going to move that foot, and it's going to be broken. I'm going to be in a mess, and I'm sitting here, and it's just the dogs, and how do I let people in? And oh my gosh, what am I going to do? We're going to lay here till Mr. Holstein gets here. And so it was sore, but it wasn't bad. So uh, God, the angel that God sends to watch over me was a little late, but he got there. So anyway, the point of that is that I hit the ground, I rolled my ankle, and I'm stoved up. So that was Wednesday. Yesterday I was a little sore. This morning I'm very sore. It's kind of like after you've been in a car accident where you're rear-ended or something and you're not cut up, you don't have to go to the hospital, but the next day you're kind of, and then by the third day you're just like, oh, sore everywhere. That's where I am today. I'm really sore. So I didn't get on the bike trainer thing. I haven't done that because the ankle, the motion of it hurts the ankle, and I don't want to mess that up. So I had already decided I was going to lay off it for a couple days. Now I'm so sore all through my back and stuff. Complain, complain, complain. That's all I ever do. And I'm sorry about that. I don't mean to be a complainer. I know it gets exhausting to listen to somebody complain all the time. I have some of those in my family, and it's like, oh my gosh, will you please at least say, oh, look, a flower? Just, it's exhausting. It really is. All right, let's see what was. Oh, so there's nothing going on there. Nothing going on there. There's talking about my fall. I go next week, so you're gonna have to wait. I go on the Thursday next week, so by Friday of next week, I'll be able to tell you what the pulmonist said. Hello, Bob. Bob's come down here. Betty's already down here. Bobo, knock stuff over, Bobo. That's how you do that. Good boy. So I'll know by this show next week. I should have some answers on that MRI for my lungs. Obviously, I'm still I should have called him, I guess, and I guess I still could. The pulmonologist and say, "Hey, this inhaler is just eating my throat up all to pieces." I have a feeling he'll change it to something else, and then that'll be a little easier on my throat, and it will all be good. It will all be good. That's what I believe. It'll all be good. Bobo, you're wearing me out. You can't sit down there. There's no room. Get out of there. There's no room. There's no room, Bobo. There's no room, Stink Bob. Oh, he smells terrible. Quit. They don't want to see you. They don't want to see you. I don't know if they can't see you anyway. Stink Bob. He does. He smells terrible, and you can give him a bath, and he still smells terrible. I think it's his breath, you know. Uh, but he can't have regular dog treats and stuff that might, help that, because most of them have chicken of some sort, poultry in it. He's not allowed to have poultry. Are you, Bobo? All right, go find a place to lay down. Sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. I pet my dogs. So anyway, there's no new news from the pulmonologist yet, and I'm more frustrated than you are because I'd like to get this over with. I keep scratching my nose because I think there's a hair on me. And let's see, I think that's about it for that. Probably may not be a very long show today, especially if we don't have a lot of interaction. Oh, yeah. Nope, not seeing anything there. I have, I'm still planning the Christmas thing for what day did I say? 19th? I think I said it the 19th. I got to get the word out about that. I mean, I haven't really put the word out. I really need to say something. I forget. I have so much going on. I just forget. There's nothing new going on with the chickens or the ducks. There wouldn't be anything different going on there. Although my brown girls are not laying at all. I was getting a white egg and a brown egg, and the last week has it been a full week? I think it's been a week. The brown egg layers, my ISIPs are not laying. I've got one leghorn that's laying. So they need to perk up. I know they won't lay every day because of their age, but I've got too many birds eating and not enough birds laying. Oh, our Bible study went fine. Next week we finish up the book of Revelation. I want to tell you something. I get it that there's a lot of you out there who are opposed to organized religion, you may want to say. And there is a lot of room for disorganized religion. The one thing about organized religion is just like we build our communities in the preparedness arena and self-sufficient, communities. We have a group of things that we believe together, right? There's we believe in growing as much of our own food as we possibly can, being self-sufficient, doing as much as we can on our own. And so there's a loose set of rules. You're not going to be kicked out because you raise those little miniature cows as opposed to the great big cows. So you're not going to be kicked out of the consideration of the organizations. Bob, get out of there. He's going to get in trouble. He may have already gotten in trouble. Um, it's so organized religion is kind of the same. It's a group. Obviously, it's a huge group in some cases of people who all believe very similarly, and they believe similarly enough that they wrote their beliefs down, and they say, if you want to be part of this group, you got to do these things. So, um, one of the benefits of an organized group, whether it's an official, recognized, certified, whatever you want to call it, organized religion, like the Lutherans or the Episcopalians, the Catholics, the Baptists, the Methodists, whatever it is. One of the benefits is you have people to discuss things with and to flesh things out and to pray for each other and to help understand each other. The book of Revelation, John's book of the Revelation, is so often misquoted and taken out of context. It's crazy. We have studied that. Next week we'll finish it up. Next week will be chapters 21 and 22. We have studied that, and then we compare it to what people are saying. And some of you guys are going to roll your eyes about it because I've been talking about this before. We compare it to what's being said out there in the world. Because of the conflicts going on in the Middle East, people are saying, Christ is coming. But if you study the full book of John's book of the Revelation, you're going to understand there's a lot more to come. These aren't the last days immediately. Okay. The great catching up is other things haven't happened yet. One of the key things that I think is really important in understanding that, we're about to hit the tribulation period, is the Antichrist. The Antichrist is going to make himself known. And we don't talk about that very often. The Antichrist and the false prophet, we will see them before Christ comes back. So unless you're telling somebody who the Antichrist and the false prophet are, you're not doing it right. Because they have to come first. And you'll understand that if you study the book of Revelation. So, and there's more to it. That's why we have the whole book now, right here within arm's reach. This is just the New Testament, and I don't mean just to diminish it. I'm just saying this isn't the Old Testament, or the Hebrew Bible, as some people like to say to be politically correct. So this references back to books that aren't in here. That I don't think I have a full Bible down here right now. I think I have. Oh, I'm sore. I have all my Bibles upstairs. Except for this one, my New Testament. I think, I'm pretty sure they're all upstairs. I got all my study guides and books up here, which I need to read those. Heaven help me read them. Yeah, that's just a case. Anyway. My bigger point being is that if it's important to you, then you need to study the book. Okay. And there's other books from the Hebrew Bible that would help you with your study as well. But some of the key things are that, these two things have not happened. The Antichrist hasn't announced himself, and what he'll do is he'll say that he is the Christ, that he is the one, and the false prophet will agree and has predicted his coming and stuff. So we're close, but we're not in it yet, and that's my understanding. And that's part of the reason to come back full circle, that you need a group of people to study with, and that while it can be discouraging. Organized religions can be discouraging. There is a purpose to them, and sometimes organization is better than disorganization. So, anyway, there's that. I suggest that you get your Bible out and you start reading, and you read and you discuss it with someone who is at or above your level of understanding, so that you can share. God can speak to anybody, but you want someone who is at least where you are so that you can discuss it and pray about it. And don't just pray, but listen. Because if you believe that God answers prayers, you have to listen to what his answer is, because sometimes it's no and sometimes it's wait. And to say that he didn't answer your prayer when you didn't get what you wanted is not correct. Because it's not about what you want, it's about what he wants. His will be done on earth. That's how that goes. So, but anyway, get your Bible out and study your Bible. Study your Bible. Our lunch and learn, I'm going to move on. Our lunch and learn was disappointing because the young lady that was going to do the program for us was sick. She wasn't able to call and tell me or email me or anything and say, I can't be there because I'm ill. My understanding from her is she took ill fairly quickly, that there were some folks ill at their Thanksgiving gathering. She didn't say what she had. Sounds like the flu to me, but she said that she was in bed all day sick and wasn't able to even call. So there's that, unfortunately. And it was rather embarrassing. For those of you who give presentations and give trainings, it's not just courteous, it's important that you contact someone affiliated with wherever you are going to speak or do your presentations, and let them know when you can't be there. Because when they have people there wanting to hear the program and you're sitting here saying, I can't get a response, there's no text message response, there's no telephone response, there's no email response, there's no Facebook response, it's embarrassing to the individual who were hosting you. It's upsetting to the people who were going to be there to hear your program. But if you can get word to them that, hey, I'm down with the flu, or I'm down with my back, or I'm not feeling well for whatever reason, that can go a long way to maintaining the relationship that you have with the people who were hosting you. So if you are not, if you're giving a presentation and you can't be there, please contact the person who was hosting you and let them know. So the church is doing a give, send, go. I'm not real good with these things. I can do some framework, but then it's kind of like, now what? So I did create the give, send, go. I mentioned this the other day. I did create the give, send, go for the church roof. And I don't know if I can pull it. I'll pull it up if I can here. And we have a wonderful donor who wants to stay anonymous, who donated um, a lot, a lot. I've been logged out, the dumb thing. I had, it's updates. Updates drive me crazy. So they donated a very significant amount. Now, the amount that I have listed is uh, is what we started out needing it for the very minimum to help us out. How do I get over there to it? We do actually need more, so I want to shoot. Let me see. Do I do it this way? Yeah, here we go. I'm going to try to share this page if I can. Morning, Stephanie. Didn't mean to ignore you, honey. I was in the middle of a rant, I think. Oh, it's good to see you over there, honey. I hope you're doing well. Hope your Thanksgiving went well. All right. I am not sure how you're seeing this page. I want it to be, oh, I see how you're seeing this page. I don't like that. I want it to be like, oh, I bet it's because of this. Here we go. I bet it's because of that. There we go. I think you can see it now. This is the Give, Send, Go page for the church. And obviously I have a picture of the church there. So, and I did load some other images there of our marquee, the inside of the church, our the Lord's table there, and the Lord's table there for Christmas with our Advent wreath, and I think that's Easter. This is a handwritten document that we have posted in the church for its organization. It was organized May the 15th, 1921, so we're over 100 years old. You can't read all of those names, but it's the names of the officers of the church as it was organized. And this is just a picture of a couple of shots of some things that we had going on there. So our campaign started out at $5,000, and we've raised $51.50. $5,000 was the minimum that we needed to get the roof on, and we actually need more because the 5,000 included with what we have at the church wipes us out, and then we don't have any money for utilities. So we actually need more. So I don't know if I should go in and raise that. Do I? I mean, this is where I don't know how to use these programs, or do I just try to continue to build on that? I do have letters out to members of our church asking for additional one-time donations towards the roof. Those just went out this week, so I don't have those back yet. I mean, I just I don't know. I don't know how to do it, and that's part of the problem. Is hi Hunter, good to see you there. I mean, I can get these things started, and then what? So, you know, I really I do I have it the I have the description here talking about the church since 1921, a little bit of scripture where we're, you know, as Christians we're told to go out and make disciples, and that's the mission of the United Methodist Church, is to make disciples of all nations. And then I talk about that that it's not just a building, but it is a testimony, because I believe we don't have an ornate building, but I believe that even in its simplicity, it is a wonderful representation of Christianity. It's very basic. It's very simple. It's not flashy, but we have a responsibility to take care of God's house. And so I do know some folks whose church is having some structural issues. Well, I shouldn't say structural because it's not about to fall in, but they've had some roofing issues. They've got some tiles missing, and they're wearing that as a badge of honor. We don't put our money into, you know, how the church looks. Well, while I believe that God does not expect perfection, I think He does expect our best. You know, if our best is imperfect, it's still our best. And I think that's what He expects. So again, I'm not really sure how to promote this, and it's a shame because it seems so simple. But and then I have a quote from the Reverend Charles Chadwick from December of 2020 that talks about what the structure, what God's house means. So it is, to me, it's a very important mission. So I think I really need to promote it more, and I'm not really sure what to do with it. I know a lot of those programs have gifts. What do you give people? What kind of gift do you create to give to someone for donating to a church roof fund? I don't know. That's a question. I'd love to have you help me with it. I'd love to have you help me answer that question. Let's see. Oh, where was I? I was talking about the church roof. So that kind of has taken priority over a lot of stuff the church roof has. I wanted to touch briefly. I can't link to the article because linking to the article sends you to a paywall for the newspaper. But locally in West Virginia, there's been a story for a good part of this year about our corrections, West Virginia State Division of Corrections, and some problems that are happening in our jails. We have several, I don't know how many regional jails we have in West Virginia, but there's a couple within rock throwing distance of me. And one of them is the South Central Regional Jail, and then the Southern Regional Jail is a little further south. And I'm just touching on this briefly because there are none of us. This kind of really ties into the church thing, but there's there's no perfect person. We know that, and we have a judicial system for those who break the laws that we have established as either a city, a county, a state, or the nation. And there are a lot of really bad people out there that do really bad things, and it's very easy to hate those people. As a Christian, I'm not supposed to hate anybody, and yet it is very difficult, especially when you see um, some of the drug pushers, some of the killers, some of the rapists, some of the child abusers, some of the animal abusers, and you just want to take them and wring their bloody necks. It wells up in you, and you just want to do something with them. But we have a judicial system for that, and flawed as it is, remember, it's made up of humans. Humans are flawed, and the judicial system is flawed. It's not up to us to take vengeance on people. And the headline of the story that I'm talking about, corrections officers charged in fatal assault at the Southern Regional Jail. Being incarcerated is not a good time, even if you're in a federal penitentiary where you can play golf, as they say. I've never been to one, so I don't know. But they're designed as a punishment. Correctional officials are designed to keep down the violence, to make sure that the inmates don't hurt each other because you are in a confined system. And while what these people are in jail for may be some of the most awful atrocities known to man, it is not up to us individually to continue or to add to their punishment, or to turn our head and let something bad happen to these, like inmates fight and stabbing and all this. We're not to do that. We're not to do that. And apparently in the corrections system in West Virginia, there has been a tolerance of abuse of the inmates. We're supposed to be better than the inmates. Okay? We're not supposed to be as bad. If you're sitting there fighting inmates one against each other like you would dogs in a dog fighting ring, that makes you no better than the people who are the inmates. So we've got to remember that even though we abhor something that they've done, if they're in the correctional system, we don't get to add to their punishment there. And good morning, Julie. Good to see you. Good to see you. We as tempting as it is, we're not perfect either. There's a lot of people in our system who have been sometimes wrongly accused, but they had to serve their time anyway. Just because you're wrongly accused doesn't mean you get out of it. I'm connected with a group called the Innocence Project, and I connected up. They don't know me from Adam, but I've been following them on Facebook and stuff since my son Brian first got in trouble with the law. God, it's been so many years ago. And the Innocence Project helps people get exonerated when they should be exonerated. And it doesn't mean that they haven't served. Some of the people that they get exonerated have served 20 and 30 years before they can prove their innocence. And some of them have been pleading, I'm innocent and I want a DNA test, for example, and the system won't give them a DNA test. Those people are wrongly convicted. They're still in there. And if they were in the Southern Regional Jail, for example, and were being abused by the correctional staff, and they're actually innocent, what does that say? So we're not perfect as humans. The people in the correction systems are not perfect. And even if you're working for corrections, You don't get to add to the punishment of the people who are in there. That's up to the system. And even if we think the system is wrong, because my son, I honestly believe and will continue to believe to the day that I die, was not guilty of the and he did a couple things that, yes, he was guilty of. But the big charge that was placed on him, that we were never able to actually fight because of some other dumb decisions that my son made that added to the problems, I believe he was innocent of. And I know that he was mistreated in one of the facilities one of them, and probably two, because he was in a facility in Massachusetts and was eventually turned loose. They dropped the charges. It took a year, but they eventually dropped the charges. And I couldn't be there because it's Boston. That's a very long drive for me, and a very long flight. I flew out there once. It's a anyway. So there are people who are innocent who are imprisoned and jailed, and we have to remember that. And there are people who are guilty. I get it. So we shouldn't be adding to their troubles while they're in there. We should be trying to help them get rehabilitated if possible, help them serve their time. And then, you know what? We're actually supposed to, once people serve their time, we're supposed to accept that. But people don't. That was another issue with my son. He was charged with something that I don't think he did. He served eventually after he was worn down for a while. He took a deal, like a lot of people do, just to get something over with. They'll take a deal. And once he got out, he had people in the community that were trying to force him to leave. They didn't want him here. And one of the things that ended up was he committed suicide. So he didn't have a chance once he got out. People were ganging up in the sense of telling him. I mean, they didn't beat him up or anything after he got out. I know he had bruises on him several times when I went to visit. But anyway, he committed suicide because he did not think he could deal with the community. And that was a shame because he had finished his time. He'd served his sentence. And I believe if I had known of the Innocence Project at that point, he would have been exonerated. But anyway, that's all I was going to say about that. It's because the headline says correction officers charged in fatal assault at Southern Regional Jail. Corrections officers allowed an assault, and somebody died from that. And that shouldn't happen. We don't have the death penalty in West Virginia. And even if you wanted the death penalty, we don't have it right now. So that doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it right. Sorry, guys. I was like all over the place on that, which is not new. I didn't watch we're talking a little bit about current events. I did not watch the DeSantis versus Newsom debate. I don't care. I looked at it as clickbait. Neither of them have a snowball's chance at this point. Newsom is just trying to play he's not a declared candidate, but he's an attention slut. Okay, he wants the attention, and he has, California is in the state it's in, and you can't sit there and deny the state that it's in. And he even said on that one interview, he said some people are saying that we're cleaning up the streets because of the guests that we're having, because the Chinese were coming to visit. Chinese, I don't know what his title is over there, but anyway, because of his visit. And Newsom said, well, yeah, you clean up the house before you have company. Yeah, I don't let drug addicts poop in my floor at the house. I don't even let the dogs poop in my floor at the house. So I don't have to clean that up before I have company. So Newsom, I think, is just an attention-seeking tart. And DeSantis, I mean, he did some good stuff in Florida. I get it. But he's just grasping at straws. and he had a good start. People were really excited. But when the big guy announced he was going to run, everybody else was done. I mean, the only way, I don't even know if that would stop if Trump got convicted. I don't even know if that would stop the Trump train. Man, I think it's going to just bulldoze through everything. Mixing my metaphors there. I really think he's just, and my thing with Trump, my thing with Trump, his behavior at one point, well, and I guess he still is a multi-million-dollar playboy. Of course, he's married now. I think Melania keeps a tight rein on him, but he was a playboy, multi-million-dollar playboy. There's a lot of people out there that talk and act the way he did. And so I'm not surprised. But as far as him being reelected, my issue is if it's going to be his vice president, has to be as strong a character as he is. Because Trump's only got 4 years. That's all he can do. The minute he gets sworn into office, he's a lame duck president. And he will be under fire unless he gets a sympathetic Congress. And remember, Congress is both the House and the Senate. It's not just the House. The Senate's part of Congress. That's the name of the whole body there. Unless he has a sympathetic Congress, he's going to have more of the same crap thrown at him as he did the first time. Did he get some good stuff done? Yes, he got some good stuff done. But he goes in this second term a lame duck, and on top of being a lame duck, being bombarded from all sides with impeachment after impeachment, because now they've got that started. You see, once they got that started with him, they set the precedent, and that's all that's going to happen. One after another is what's going to happen. So if his vice president isn't as strong of a character as he is, man, it's just going to be messed up. That's my concern. It's just going to be messed up. No more, limp-wristed Mike Pence kind of people. He was just, he was just, I'm not talking about his religion. He was just milquetoast. He really was. I don't know why Trump ended up with him, but I don't have a good suggestion for a vice presidential candidate for Trump, but it's got to be somebody strong. It's really got to be somebody strong. And let me just touch a little bit about international news. The big dog in the news is what's going on over in Israel. And yeah, some of the hostages have been turned loose, and that's wonderful. We need to have them all back. The big deal for me right now is the women's organizations, international women's organizations, sitting on their hands with a ball gag in their mouth because they're not saying a thing. Where is the Me Too movement? Where is the not in my country music? Where is the Give Our Girls Back movement? Where are all these people? The ones that said believe the women. When a woman says that she's been assaulted, you believe her. Where are these people? The hypocrites. Where are they? Are you telling me that they're okay with this? The butchering of these women, old women, babies? I believe it. I believe it. There's no debate in my mind. I stand with Israel. Plain and simple. Israel can be a flawed country just like we can. But there was no conflict. I mean, there was always been a conflict, but there was nothing going on. There was no attacks, no bombs, no anything going on October the 6th. So that was a type of a ceasefire. It had been quiet for a long time. Even our own government was talking about how quiet it had been. And then, boom, all of these people are dead. Where are the women's organizations? They're nowhere to be found. and it's a shame. It's a shame. Um, I'm not. I don't. I used to be very strong eye for an eye, capital punishment type, but especially in the capital punishment arena, my views are changing a lot because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and there's a lot of people who are innocently in jail. But what we saw I mean, and we saw it with today's news cycles and the 24/7 news channels, the CNNs, the MSNBCs, the Foxes, all of that stuff. It's 24-hour news. We saw it almost in real time, and the videos that from the cameras that the uh, that Hamas was wearing. See, Hamas isn't the people. Hamas is an organization. So people who are not a member of that organization are as innocent as the Israelis that were attacked. It's like a version of the Klan. You know, it's not every citizen of the United States is a member of the Klan. Actually, not hardly any, percentage wise. But anyway, Hamas is an organization. It's a group of people who think that they have to destroy another group of people just because. I don't pretend to know all that stuff. I know what I see. I know the history that I've read, and people can say that that history is flawed. I kind of don't think so. There's too many people that have contributed to that history for it to be, you know, if too many people say the sky is blue, it's not a conspiracy against the sky being blue. Excuse me. You know, or the I believe that the land of Israel is where Jerusalem is and where Israel is does has been occupied by the Jewish people much longer than the Palestinian people have been around. I do believe, I mean, I can go back to scripture and look at that. That land, that was the land that God gave them. And I believe that's where they need to be. I just don't understand. Well, I do understand actually when you understand that there's evil in the world. You know, Cain killed Abel. That's as simple as it gets. And I don't, but you don't attack women and babies that way. You just don't. If the women are in the army, that's different because you're shooting at the army. But to go and just grab up women and take them hostage and do the things that they've done, that's not. And to bring this back full circle, where are the women's organizations that have screamed forever that women don't lie about these things and you can't treat women this way? And it's really bothersome to me that we hear nothing from them. So, I told you already about the melatonin. Did I tell you about the melatonin? I think I told you about the melatonin. So I took some melatonin last night to help me rest better because I've not slept well for a while. I keep waking up, and then when I wake up, I'm awake for hours. So I thought, okay, let's try this again. And I did not sleep worth a squat last night. And I looked up some of the side effects on melatonin because I couldn't imagine that the tossing and the turning and just the just general, I couldn't sleep at all hardly was part of it. I go back to Mayo Clinic. I go back to Cleveland Clinic. I go back to the big dog organizations when I look this stuff up. So um, there's not a whole lot on the side effects of melatonin. There is a list of stuff that it could cause interactions with, like anticoagulants or antiplatelets. Um, it can increase if you want to call it effectiveness of anticoagulants and antiplatelet drugs. Um, it might inhibit anticonvulsants. I don't take any of this. It could worsen blood pressure in people who are taking blood pressure medications. There's a long list of things that melatonin um, can can be countered for, um, or could increase. And daytime drowsiness after you take it is one of those. And I think that's what I'm fighting this morning. I have been just beat plumb to death feeling, besides the fall that I had. I mean, it just, when I got up this morning, it was almost like I'd been drunk. It was just, I'm all over the place. And I was not drunk last night. Thank you very much. But so the only different thing that I did last night was take the melatonin. So I'm thinking that melatonin is just one of those things that I can't take. So I would suspect, perhaps if you're going to try melatonin, I know doctors sometimes will suggest taking melatonin. The doctor suggested that for my dad, and I'm not sure if he gave him. I don't think it was prescription strength, but there was a particular type Dad had to get. It didn't help him. But be sure and read up on this before you invest in purchasing it, because you don't want to end up like I've got with a bottle of it sitting on the counter, because Mr. Holstein, one of the doctors, suggested he take that too, and he's not one to take any kind of medication unless he really has to. But there's the Cleveland Clinic and the Mayo Clinic and a couple of the other ones have some suggestions or some potential side effects that you may want to be aware of before you start taking it. It can counter some of the medications you take. So, like here's one: a secondary cause of hypomelatonemia, which is significant. It's the significantly low levels of melatonin. You got to be careful if you're on shift. People will take it for shift work to help them get back on track, and you got to be careful with it because it can mess you back up. So that's that. If you're going to take melatonin, please be careful and read up on it before you take it so that you know the side effects of it. Don't be like me, a big dummy about it, and not taking it. Don't do that. Let go of that. My mouse is sticking and it's dragging stuff and it's not supposed to. Alrighty. I'm going to be one of the, I'm all over the place and I really don't want to be all over the place. I'm really trying to streamline, and every time I try it, I mess it up. So I'm sorry. I have signed up for a couple of programs to help match up potential podcast guests. And I have, I just filled out the information yesterday on one of them, Podcast Match, or I think it's Matchmaker Podcast Match anyway. And one of the guests, or one of the potential guests, is a guy that says he's the founder of Beternal, Beternal. And Beternal is a memory preservation platform with a distribution system. And the guy says he would love to share with my listeners how saving their messages, knowledge, and wisdom for future generations will help them and their future. Now, I know several of you guys are smart enough to, if you were reading that, and maybe even with me reciting it to you, you would figure out what he's doing. Now, do you want to hear him explain it or not? Because I believe what he's doing, and this isn't to down him. I mean, everybody has to start somewhere. I think all he's doing is recording, or has created a platform for you to record a message to your family and for people after your death. So if I was Amelia Earhart, I would, record how I became a female pilot and what happened to me when I crashed. You know, so that the future people in the future would be able to retain that knowledge. But the more I looked at it, I mean, I'm sure you figured it too. I mean, you could do this with YouTube. Why, what, and this might be questions for him. And, if you want me to reach out and try to have him on, I'll do that. What makes his product different than like YouTube? How do we guarantee, because the guy's going to be getting paid. How do you guarantee that 10 years after you're gone, your message is going to be out there? Or is he broadcast? Here's in my mind, I'm thinking, he's got a little broadcast signals, broadcasting it out to the universe where it's going to hang in the air forever. A big string of 4-letter words, like from the Christmas Story movie. And he says he thinks some of his dad's language is still floating over Cleveland. I don't know. I read that and I thought, this guy is just, it's taking video and audio and then saying he's going to keep it. It's going to be on the server somewhere for generations. I mean, we've already got that. You can do that with YouTube. You can do that with Rumble. You can do that with Facebook. You can do that with all of these things. And you can set them up so that they're private. And then when you die, you give the code to your family in your will or whatever and say, by the way, I've left messages for you at this link, hit this link or type this link in. And there you go. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. So that was one of the two. I had another one. The other guy was just out there with, it almost sounded like, because he was talking about he had developed an algorithm, and I'll get this wrong, but it developed an algorithm to help you basically beat the stock market if it was an investment algorithm. And I thought, I don't know that I want to do that to you people. And I don't say you people derogatorily. I know there's not that many of you out there really that would be interested in that kind of thing. But just so you know, I am starting to look for other people to come on as a guest. If you guys wanted to come on and you had time, let me know. I'll get you on here. It's no big deal. I'll send you a link. I do have to. It reminds me, I have to get another drive. I have filled up so many cards with the video, just so that it's not out there on the cloud on somebody else's computer or somewhere else where I don't know where it is. I bought that little box to put the SD cards in, and I've already got a bunch of them full. And I don't know what size that one is. So I've got 4 of the larger ones and a couple of those really tiny micro SDs filled. And what is that one I've got in there now? It's full. I don't know if I can, oops, get back in there. I don't know if I can take that out while I'm sitting here talking to you or not. I don't think so. Oh, wait, maybe. Oh, move my whole machine is just sitting here on a little cart little thing. I can't get to it because I got USB drives in the way. But it's what I was wanting to do was get that out. Oh, maybe I can. There we go. To tell you how big it is, that it's full. This one is, that's the adapter. Sorry for those of you who are going to be on the podcast that are hearing this silence. So this is a 64 gig micro. Can you believe when I first started using processors, data processors, the cards we had, man, I don't have anything as big. The floppy disks that we had, and they wouldn't hold enough to put a letter on, a 2 or 3 page letter. I don't have anything as big as those floppy. I used to have a bunch of them that I kept just for nostalgia's sake, and I got rid of them. But um, just that 64 gig. I mean, those other ones, they didn't have hardly anything on them compared to today. I had one time that kept telling me I had a disc. I was new work, hadn't been working very long, so I didn't know anything about it. I kept getting this disc error, and I was telling the girl, I don't remember what her name is now. And how do you write on that? You can't write on there what they are. I said, I keep getting this disc error. And she about lost her mind because it was full. And it was just it was one of those floppies. Honestly, no, I don't want that go in there. It needs to go in there. I'm coming up on time, aren't I? Oh shoot, yeah, I'm right at an hour. Actually, a floppy was about that big, really. It was huge. The big ones, the original ones. And this is just a reader. I'll stick that right there. The only other thing I was going to mention today, for those of you who do see the video, I've showed you this before. In one of the groups, one of the Telegram groups that I'm in, where it's mostly we're talking exercising and stuff like that, and trying to encourage each other to exercise more. It's one of Toolman Tim's groups that Yosick put together, called Toolman's Camp Hope. And so I'll get on there in the mornings and I'll say, well, I got my bike ride in today, and different ones will say they got their walk in and stuff. So we got to talking, and some of you guys know Nicole Sauce. She's having a lot of work done to her house, so she's staying in a camper, and she was talking about not being able to cook and different things. And I mentioned, and I sent a link to, well, not just to her, it's to anybody in the group, but a link for this thing called a Wonder Bag. And I had a pattern for it somewhere, and now I can't find it, and it made me think, oh, I wonder how many things that I have lost over the years because the online platform is now gone, and I didn't, and the computer that I had, the hard drive, it's all gone. But this is the one that I made, and it's hard for you to see, I know, because this thing is huge. What I did was I took jeans, and like I said, I had the pattern for it. And a Wonder Bag is just an insulated bag that you put around a pot. So you get some food started. Let's say you're fixing a pot of pinto beans. So you get your water hot, you get everything started, and then you cut the heat off, and then you put it in this bag, and you let it sit there all day. So you're not adding any more energy to it. But it's cooking. It's like a slow cooker, but there's no electric added to it. And in some, back in the olden times, it was called a hay box or a box. And because you had a box that was full of hay. Come out there, you. And then you put your hot pot down in that box, and it kept it insulated, and whatever was in your pot was cooking while it sat there. So there was an organization that was selling these, and part of the money would go to to send some of these things down to Africa, to some of the countries, less fortunate countries. But I found the pattern for this on the internet, and I don't know if it was Pinterest. I was looking at Pinterest, and there was some there that looked familiar, but I didn't buy the pattern. Whatever blog post I saw it on, there was no charge for the pattern. And so I made it. And a lot of these are calling for those little styrofoam beads like there are in bean bags. But I didn't make mine with this. This is what I made mine with. This is a fabric. And now I can't think of the name of it, and I don't have the packaging. But you use this like in to make pot holders and stuff. And it's fuzzy, and it's got some like aluminum foil in it. It may just be mylar, but this is fuzzy. I don't think that you can tell that, but it is. It almost feels like a wool blanket or something. But it's an insulation, and you get it. I got this at Sally's. I think it was at Sally's, because Peace Goods has gone out of business. So you had to buy a lot, and so I had a bunch left over. So what you do, I mean, I put mine together, like I said, with old jeans, and so this is a huge round piece of round fabric that you had that I put that insulation in. Now the other ones have these different pockets, but they're using beads, like I said. So I used that insulate in mine, and you put it. I wish I can't. It's hard to do here, but you put a pot down in it, and you draw the bag up around it. And so I use the belt loops from the jeans and some twine to come through, um, and you make this bag. You tie it so that it's round. Oh, this is terrible. This is terrible video. So that it's round and your pot is setting in here, and this is insulating around it, and then this goes over the top and gets tucked in, um, and then keeps it warm, keeps it heated, and it just slow cooks itself all day. But that's the one I made. I don't know if I can get. Let me get to see if I can get to a page real quick and show you what it's supposed to look like. Wonder bag. This is going to be the one that you can buy. Let me find the picture of it real quick. This is not the right kind of picture I want to see about Wonder Bag. I'll share this page here in just a second as soon as I get a good shot of the bag itself around a pot. Come on now. How it works. I'm sorry, I don't like to go over like this, but oh, this might be a good page here. Oh yeah, this is good. Let me see if I can share the. That's not the page I want. I want this page. That is this page. I want this page. Oh, share this tab. There we go. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna enlarge this. Hopefully you can see. So what I want, this is how it's supposed to look when you get it done. So what you have here in these, when you make your own, you put this is full of those little styrofoam beads. Now mine, like I said, I put the insulating fabric, and then the top that I made out of the bandana is here. You know, you put that over the top of the pot that you're cooking in. In this case, you see the pot's this. You see the edge of the pot there. And you put the lid on it, and you put a piece of fabric, and then you draw the string around so that it's all enclosed. So that it looks like that. See, you can barely see. They're using a stock pot here, and the stock pot is down in the bag, and that's the lid that you tuck in here, and you just let it slow cook. And you don't need to use any other. So I want to stop sharing that now because I need to wrap this up. I've been going on way too long this morning, and today is finger stick day, so I can get over to Dad's here in a few minutes. And in the I don't think I have all of the links put in for today, but I'm going to put the link to the Give Send Go and to the church. And if you would consider a small donation, I would really appreciate it. Like I said, we have the money to do the biggest portion, but then that wipes us out. So I'm going to try to adjust that Give Send Go if I can. I don't know how to do that after you set your initial goal. And if you have any ideas, what kind of things could a small church give to people as a token of appreciation for a donation to a Give, Send, Go, I would love to hear it from you. And I appreciate all of you guys swinging by, even if it was just to say hello. I don't have anybody say over on Rumble this morning. Sometimes we do, I do appreciate that. And when you do say hello, I like to let people know that you're out there. So if you're on the podcasts, please say hello too, and I'll let you know. I'll say hello back to you. I'm going to, I promise I'm going to try to tighten this up so that it's not quite so rambly in the future. I'm not going to get into a whole lot of the goal settings. Everybody's doing goal settings. You guys are probably tired of goal setting, but I do appreciate it. If you get this far and you haven't already hit the like, whatever version of like that is on the platform that you are enjoying or listening to me on, I would really appreciate it if you would tick that so that we can tickle those algorithms. Also, subscribe, and you'll get to know when we're on in the future. And share it out. Share it out with your friends who may be like-minded, who may be, they didn't have to be like-minded. They could be kind of, what did my grandmother used to have a phrase for it? Contrary. They'd like to chat. If you want to be on, let me know. Love to have you. Love to have you spend some time with you chatting about just anything that comes up. But I'm going to call it now for that. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Stephanie, Hunter, and Julie, for swinging by and saying hello. I do appreciate it. And I'm going to click this around so that I can do it right this time. Sometimes I get it all fouled up. But I'm going to go, and I do plan to be, as far as I know, we'll be live on Tuesday. That may change. Dad's back specialist, his spine specialist, is supposed to send him a notice of his next appointment. Who knows when that's going to be? They don't let you make the appointment while you're there. They mail you the appointment and then make you call them to change it. So we'll see when that's going to be. But I do appreciate you guys, and I'm going to sign off for now, and I will see you on Tuesday. And I hope to have a couple of videos out this week on some food preparation and storage things, and hope you'll have time to see them. And look forward to talking to you again sometime. So we'll talk to you again later. Okay? Bye-bye.
So there you have it. Post your comments, do all that boosting, liking, sharing, thumbs up, and stuff that helps spread the word and poke the algorithms. Follow me on most of the big social media platforms and look for my name, Robin Holstein, or Holstein House. Till next time, bye-bye.